So if you watched my recent video about how my lung collapsed and that whole situation, you know that I stopped smoking when I found out that I had a collapsed lung, which is, makes sense, pretty respectable thing to do. So I haven't smoked. That was like 2 weeks ago or so, something like that. So I haven't smoked in 2 weeks. And I had been smoking for since I was like 17, so I was addicted, and I'd never stopped. I had never had a period where it wasn't available, because that's what an addict does. They really make sure that they always have their fix on them whenever they need it. And yeah, what I want to talk about in this video is essentially renunciation and attachment to worldliness, attachment to worldly things, and how that locks us down, and how people have varying levels of worldliness, of how involved with the world they're going to be, and how much they've renounced their attachment to worldly things. So to start off, I can directly use my nicotine addiction as an example. I stopped smoking nicotine 2 weeks ago. So I don't smoke anymore. So I don't have my vape on me right now. 2 weeks ago, back when I smoked, I would have my vape on me right now. I would have, in fact, made sure that I had it prior to coming on this walk. When you're addicted to something, whether it be like a chemical addiction like nicotine, or addicted to, you have a habit of something you can't stop doing, that kind of stuff. When you have a habit, when you're addicted to something, just using nicotine as an example, no matter where I go, I have it on me. It has to be on me. I can't go for a walk. I can't go to a party. I can't travel somewhere in the world. I can't hang out with a friend without having my vape on me. When I'm addicted to nicotine, I need to have that excess because I need my nicotine, That's the mindset of someone who's addicted to nicotine. So what that does, it may not seem like a big deal, especially for an addict, because they have their nicotine. So it's like, whatever, I have my nicotine. It's not a big deal. But it is a big deal because in being a nicotine addict, I can't enjoy my walk without my vape. I can't travel somewhere without my vape. I can't go hang out with my friends without a vape. I can't even go for a car ride without my vape. So what that's doing, when you're addicted to nicotine, just using that as an example, you're setting yourself up for a situation where you're at a disadvantage because you need this physical object, this worldly physical object, to feel satisfied. Where if I don't have my vape on me, I'm probably not going to have as good a time on my walk. I'm not going to have as good a time hanging out with my friend. I'm not going to have as good of a time traveling, or whatever the occasion may be. I'm attached to this worldly object, and in this scenario, that's the vape. I need the vape on me, or else I don't feel as good. And what I realized when I stopped smoking, I experienced a little bit of withdrawal, but I very quickly realized that the habit, it is a little hard when your body is so addicted to it that you reach into your pocket or reach over on the table where your vape usually is, and it's not there, and you go, oh yeah, that's right, I'm done, So that's a little hard, but like I said, I very quickly realized that I was kind of just romanticizing the addiction in my mind, like, oh wow, nicotine would be really nice right now. I wish I could hit it, but I can't. I was someone that was busy not smoking, And then when you let go of that, because that's just romanticizing and dramatizing the craving and the attachment, when you let go of that, it's not really that big of a deal at all. You're just not smoking, And when I'm sleeping, I'm not all caught up in how I'm addicted to nicotine and I want nicotine and all that. I'm not even aware of if I'm addicted to nicotine or not, or if I'm smoking or not. So why can't I Why can't I live from that awareness in my waking life, you know? Why can't I embody the liberation from nicotine addiction in my waking life? So I quickly got over that mental romanticization, as I called it. And the other thing I realized was this seeming liberation from needing this physical object in my possession at all times. I don't have my vape on me right now. I don't need to have it on me. 2 weeks ago, I needed it on me. I needed to have it everywhere I went. It was an imprisonment where I need this physical object to be on me at all times for me to be having a good time. And in stopping smoking, I've experienced, it's literally a lightness. It's a lightness where if I want to go for a walk, I can just go for a walk. I don't need to put juice in my vape and make sure it's charged and have it on me and all that stuff. If I want to go for a drive, I can just go for a drive. I don't need to go to the store and buy shit for my vape. I don't need to have it on me at all times. And all these things, all this imprisonment that comes in being addicted and attached to something in the world. Now, I'm just using nicotine addiction as an example here, where when you're addicted to smoking or vaping or whatever it is, you need to have it on you at all times. You are not going to be having as good of a time if you don't have it in comparison to if you did have it. That's an imprisonment. That's attachment. That's a worldly attachment where you are not operating at your full potential unless you are being complemented by the presence of this thing that you're attached to. So now you're fracturing your own being. You're not a whole being. You're partially a being that is whole when they have this vape on them. Just using the nicotine thing for an example. You are no longer a whole being when you've fractured your satisfaction and your acceptance into all these things that you need, where once I have it, then I will be satisfied. If I have my vape on me, then I can go for a walk. You know what I'm saying? This goes so far beyond just vaping. I'm using that as sort of a ground to describe this worldly attachment and the liberation that comes through renunciation, where in a way I renounced vaping. I said, nope, no more. And now I'm liberated from that, in that I can live without it. I don't need it on me. I don't need to have it with me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm freer to that extent. The energy, both physical and mental, that went into making sure I had my vape on me at all times, and making sure I always had juice and new pods and making sure it was always charged, that energy has been redirected and rerouted into different facets of me, where it's now free energy that's being recycled back into me and is being expressed in different ways. You know what I'm saying? And that's an interesting conversation of its own, because, you know, some people who, stop vaping pick up eating and start eating unhealthy and stuff like that. So the redirection of energy is a whole other conversation. But essentially what I'm saying is that now that I've stopped vaping, there's a liberation of energy. But yeah, there is so much more that we are attached to in life, you know, like to completely shift gears from vaping into another worldly attachment that we have, being in the company of someone, or perhaps having a significant other, where I would love to travel the world, but it would be better if I had someone with me. I would love to live on my own and have my own place, but it would be better if I had someone with me. I would love to go on a walk, but it would be better if someone went on a walk with me. I would love to go walk through town and explore and see what's going on the weekend, but I feel like it would be better if someone was with me for that. That is a worldly attachment to needing the presence and company of someone else to be satisfied. A lot of people are attached to that, whether it just be hanging out with friends and acquaintances or having an actual significant other, a romantic partner, you know what I mean? I'm happy, but I feel like I would be happier if I had someone to hang out with, to spend time with. I'm all right alone, but I'd really rather have someone with me. I'm all right to go for this walk, but I need my vape on me, you know? And this worldliness goes in all directions. Worldliness to pleasure, worldliness to avoiding pain. Life is all right, but I really want to make sure that I have a house and food and water and warmth. That's worldly attachments. That's something that's like, oh, that's a given, that's a default. That's not up for question, but it is. It's a worldly attachment where you prefer, it's a preference. One way you can describe desire is preference. You prefer to have a house and money and food and warmth and shelter and all these things. That's worldly attachment. So it's doing that thing as I described earlier. It's fracturing your satisfaction, your wholeness into needing all these other things, where you are not complete without the accompaniment of these things that you desire or prefer, you know? Money. Man, I'm all right. I'm having a pretty good life, but if only I had a little bit more money. You know what I mean? If only I got paid this much, you know? Preferences, desires, attachment, worldly attachment. It's interesting. It's interesting how what I'm talking about here is we put our fulfillment out in front of us into the world and give it away to these things that we individually desire, whether it's a vape or a significant other or money or a better home or certain types of clothes or whatever the hell it is, drugs, whatever it is, whatever your thing is that you're attached to, your worldliness, you know, the presence of people around you. You can't stand being alone. You're attached to having people around you to reassure you that you're popular or likable or whatever. We all have worldliness. We're all attached to certain things in the world, and everyone to a different degree than everyone else. Not only to a different degree, but different stuff. We're all attached to different stuff. And what I'm saying in this video is how, first of all, it's all right to be attached to what you're attached to. And as a matter of fact, you can't not be attached to it until you're ready to be done with it. You can't make believe that you're done. I'm not smoking anymore. You know what I mean? Because there's a counterbalance of the energy where now you're just busy not smoking. The energy that went into smoking has now gone into not smoking. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was talking about earlier, of being busy being someone who's not smoking. Rather than just not smoking as it is, I'm busy using effort to not smoke, you know? That's where the energy got redirected. And Ram Dass describes it as horny celibate syndrome, where a lot of the people who renounce sex, renounce lust, give up sex and lust and masturbation and all that stuff, they just end up horny celibates. They're just not having sex, that's all. All the energy and attachment and desire and fantasy is all still within them. They're just not doing it outwardly, you know? I kind of made a video on this stuff quite a while ago, talking about renunciation and that kind of stuff. But yeah, really the point I'm making here is when it's all right to be attached to stuff, but it can be a drag. It can end up to be a drag because you're sort of, as I've described it, you're fracturing your fulfillment into needing all these other things, where you're only fulfilled if you have this other thing. You're fracturing your being. I feel like that's the best way that I can really describe it right now, where When you're attached to this thing, you need that thing to be fulfilled. You know what I mean? Where otherwise, if you weren't attached to it, if you had renounced the attachment to that thing, whether it's there or not isn't a problem at all. You're still fulfilled. You're still chilling because you don't have an attachment to it. You don't prefer to have it or to not have it. There is no chasing and averting. There is no running towards or running away from. You're just chilling, you know? So it's all right to have these attachments and all this stuff, but when you renounce things, when the renouncement is done within you, which I feel is more so a karmic occurrence, where you're not egoically choosing, I am going to renounce this. It's sort of an energetic, determined unfolding. It's going to happen, you know? You're going to renounce what you're going to renounce when you're going to renounce it, you know? When that happens, there's a liberation of energy within you, where it's free. It's a liberation of energy. There's been an energy within you that has been freed from it as a direct result of giving up this thing, you know? So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. This perspective kind of started stewing from my direct experience in stopping smoking, you know, and seeing how that affected my mind and my body, and the direct experience of realizing, holy shit, now I can do all these things I still do, but I don't need my vape on me. When prior, 2 weeks ago, I needed my vape on me to do this, that, and the other, or else I wasn't going to have as good of a time as I would have if it was there, you know? There's a liberation of energy. I'm freer, I'm lighter, literally physically lighter. I don't have my vape on me anymore, you know? But also, and more importantly, energetically lighter, mentally lighter. I don't need this thing to be happy. I don't need this thing to be fulfilled. So I hope I'm making that point clear. Yeah, I just wanted to share that, the renouncing things to the world, and it's our very attachment to things in this world that, as I've said multiple times now, fracture our fulfillment into all these different things, where now we are only fulfilled if that thing is here. So I hope you understand what I'm saying. I hope this was insightful, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys later.